Bear with me today, guys. It's hot and we're gonna make this quick. We are going to be popping off Seth's wheels on his Yamaha Bolt, and I was just kind of going through the YouTube videos, and there really aren't a whole lot of videos showing you how to do it, especially the rear tire. So I figured, why not put a quick, easy one out there? So if you guys are trying to get that off and you want to know how to do it, follow along. We're gonna go ahead and pop them off. You need a jack of some sort in order to get both tires off the rear end. All you need to do is loosen these up right here and then unscrew your axle bolt. Or your axle, I should say. Basically, once you unscrew this, the whole thing comes right on out. All right, expect this to be pretty tight, but if you just get on there with a 19 and like a breaker bar, you'll be able to get it out, and then you'll see your whole axle is going to come loose. Now I'm going to need two hands in a second because I'm going to have to hold the wheel up as I pull the axle out, and then your front wheel will be free. Pretty simple. As far as the brake, you don't have to do anything special. Don't pull the brake, because otherwise then you have to like pull them apart. But what you're going to want to do is just slide that out and leave it the way it is, and when you go to put the tire back in, you just jimmy it back up in there. Like I said, comes out real nice. You may need to use something to tap it out. Just make sure you don't use anything that's going to damage this. So there's your axle, and there's your front tire. Make sure you don't lose these. Pull them out in the orientation. Try to remember. You want to just put it right back in the same way you got it. So you guys can do it however you would like to, but we are going to actually put the bolt or the axle back in, and I'm going to put the two bearings the same way they came out so I don't get those mixed up. All right, so on the rear axle, we're going to go ahead and loosen up our tensioner here. We'll probably readjust that because if I'm thinking correct, Seth needs some tightening anyway. But we're going to loosen this up on both sides and then pop off the main axle nut here. As you guys can see, you have the same thing over here to loosen up. On the inside, just be aware, inside here you're going to have your wheel dampeners. Don't lose them. They're just little rubber pieces, and then we're also going to mark this so we know exactly how to put it back in the same way. All right, so to get the rear out, you may need help from a friend, but you're going to need to hold on to this nut at the same time as unloosening the axle itself. So we're going to loosen it up, and then we're going to take off the belt, and then eventually we're going to take off the caliper on this side, but we won't do that till the axle comes out. So all right, so just to show you, once you loosen it up enough, and then you make sure you loosen your tighteners here, you'll be able to push the tire forward, which will give you enough room to go ahead and pull your belt off over on this side. And you're going to want to just pull your belt off, kind of lay it off to the side, out of the way. Remember, it's going to separate right here. This piece will separate, so don't let it fall. All right, so as you guys can see, this is your nut on the opposite side. It actually has its own built-in lock washer, which is kind of neat. But once it comes off, don't lose your washer itself. So we're just going to set that where I'll see it. And then let me show you guys this. So simple as that. So now your axle is free. We just need to get it out. And watch your brake caliper, because as soon as you pull the axle past the brake caliper, it's going to want to fall off. And then there's probably going to be a couple bushings on this side as well as on the other side. So once we get those out, I'll show you guys them so you know what they look like. So we actually lowered our jack just a little bit to put pressure on the tire and not so much the axle, hoping that'll help us out. So lower it down, get it level, and then pull it out. Now it's a little bit easier with the tire on the ground. He pulled it out a little more. I want you guys to see this. When it comes all the way out, your brake caliper will be loose. You've got that whole axle out, so now the back tire is completely free. Your tensioner is going to come off. This is now free. You guys can see there's another bushing right in here. So we're just going to pull it out nice and slow. We lifted the tire up just enough so that he can get it out. But your rear brake caliper will come off. Like I said, you can just let that hang for now. I'm going to need to get something to stand it up on. But before we pull the tire completely out, I wanted to pull this out so we know. Another bushing. On this side, same thing. He's going to have another bushing, a little shorty. It's kind of similar to how Harley does theirs. And then you got the inside axle piece, which in this case, I'm going to leave that in there. Like I was saying, make sure you just hold that up. You don't want a lot of pressure on your rear brake line. So we're just gonna take a bungee cord and bungee it up there. Doesn't look pretty, but it's out of the way. We are, however, gonna replace these rear brakes because those, there ain't nothing left on those. So we'll replace those. His belt, it's a little stiff, but it looks just fine. I don't think we need to replace that at the moment. Now coming over here, I wanted to show you guys this. If you pull off your pulley wheel here, you'll see what I was talking about. Those are your dampeners that are inside there, and they're supposed to help with vibration, things like that. I wanted to replace them on Seth's bike, but I couldn't really find any good aftermarket ones. So we're just gonna keep the stock ones for now. As you guys can see, when you pop it off, the inside little bearing is gonna come out, so we're gonna go ahead and make sure we don't lose that piece. And you guys can see all the little rubber nuggets come out. I wouldn't worry too much about that. Just kind of look at how the orientation is, and you're gonna put them back in the exact same way when we put the tire back together. But when you take it in to get the work done, you don't really need to bring this with you, right? So you might as well just take it off and store it near the bike. We got the tires mounted at our local store here, and we put this back together, rubbers back in the same spot, matched up the line that we put on here to make sure we put it in the same spot, and now that's ready to go. We're gonna throw it on there. Already changed out the brakes. Same process from when you took it off, just in reverse. Nothing crazy, except for the anti-seize, which I'll show you guys in just a second. So this is what we're gonna use, just some simple anti-seize, and we're gonna go ahead and put that on here. You don't want to overcoat it, but you just wanna get a nice thin layer all the way across it just to help out. This is what we're gonna do. You guys can consult an actual mechanic and figure out what they want. And as you guys can imagine, after we pulled out the anti-seize, my hands got a little messy and I didn't pull the foam back out. Basically follow the same steps you did pulling everything off and put it back in the exact same way, and you guys will be on the road in no time with some new tires, maybe some new brakes, and maybe a new belt if that's what you decided to do. Thanks for watching, guys. Later.